All right, so these are going to be my divisional round power rankings. Let's get started. Start off with our top performances. You guys can maybe look at this yourself here. But yeah, moving on from there, we have our injuries. So these are just going to be injuries that count for this week's games. Last week I included every team's injuries for the entire postseason, but this is just going to be this week. Ravens, Zay Flowers is questionable. They really need him against Buffalo if they want to win that game. Eagles, Byron Young's questionable, but it looks like he's going to play. Bills, Ray Davis is questionable. It looks like he's going to play as well. Lions, David Montgomery is set to play. That's a good addition for him. Texans, Dalton Schultz and Robert Woods are questionable. They would really like to at least get Dalton Schultz back. The Chiefs with Cole Hardman and Jalen Watson are questionable. They certainly need Jalen Watson. He'd be a big addition to this defense. And Cole Hardman would be nice to have as well. Rams, Bobby Brown and Tyler Higbee are questionable, but they would definitely like to have both of those guys. They're going to have a tough matchup against the Eagles. And the Commanders, Jerron Payne, Bobby Wagner, and Ben Sinnott are all questionable. They need any guys they can have when they got to play the Lions this week. They need all those guys healthy. But yeah, moving on from there, we got number 8, the Houston Texans. They were number 14 last week, so they're still they were the bottom of my teams in the playoffs, and they're still the bottom of the teams in the playoffs. But they did look a lot better last week than I thought they would, because I predicted them to lose to the Chargers. They obviously ended up winning 32-12, a very good game here for for Houston. Joe Mixon was great. C.J. Stroud was solid as well. Nico Collins was great for them. So all around, really good performance offensively and defensively. They forced 4 interceptions from Justin Herbert. So really strong performance from Houston, but I still think they're the worst team currently in the playoff picture. Number 7 here is going to be the Washington Commanders. So they obviously did win last week. I predicted them to win against the Buccaneers. They won 23-20 off a game-winning field goal that doinked in off of the upright. So definitely a drama-filled game for them. Jaden Daniels was really solid. The running game was, wasn't great. But Jaden Daniels was great. Terry McLaurin and De'Ami Brown are really good as well. So their passing game was good. Their defense was good. The running game need to be a little bit better this week against Detroit if they want a chance of winning. They're still certainly, a good team, but they're definitely at the bottom of the playoff rankings here, just over the Texans. Number 6 is going to be the Rams. So they were number 8 last week, so they don't really move ahead of anybody. Either them and the Commanders are staying the exact same spot they were. I believe all 3 of these bottom teams are staying the exact same spot they were relative to the teams that are still left. For the Rams this week, they played really good against the Vikings. They won 27-9. I debated moving them up higher against some of these teams, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. Matthew Stafford was really good in this game. Kyron Williams was solid. They had plenty of receivers do really good. Puka and Higbee were solid. For sure, Tyler Higbee, again, like I said, is questionable for this week, and he was their leading receiver last week. So they would really like to get him healthy for this week, which it's looking like he will play, but they're just taking some caution with him. But I do like the Rams a lot right now. Number 5, Philadelphia Eagles. So they will drop at 1 spot, actually. They obviously won the game, but it was not a very impressive victory. They won 22-10. Defense was great, but offensively, not a whole lot going for them. Jalen Hurts had 131 passing yards. Saquon Barkley was really good in the running game, but they need to get their passing game going. 131 yards is not going to be good enough, I think, to beat the Los Angeles Rams, who are a very, very solid team and proved it just last week. So they're going to need more out of the passing game from Jalen Hurts, but what I saw from Saquon in the defense is really good. I just have some questions. I'm a little bit concerned about them. That's why I dropped them 1 spot. Number 4 is going to be the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to move them up 1 spot ahead of the Eagles. They looked really good this week. They won 28-14 over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Lamar Jackson really solid on the passing game and the rushing game. He had 80 rushing yards himself. Derrick Henry had 186 yards and 2 touchdowns. So an amazing running game. Almost 300 total yards from that. So obviously that is really good to see. The passing game, like I said, Lamar Jackson didn't throw for that many yards, 175 yards, but he was very efficient. And their defense was really good against Pittsburgh. So all around, the Ravens played really, really good this week. But yeah, the Ravens looked really solid, so I do move them up 1 spot here. Number 3, Buffalo Bills. They played really good against Denver. They got down 7-0 early. I thought it could have been a competitive game, but they ended up blowing them out 31-7. So aside from the first couple of drives there, they were very dominant. Josh Allen was great. James Cook was great. Curtis Samuel was actually the leading receiver here this week, which a little bit surprising. Didn't see much from Amari Cooper, but they didn't really need much out of Amari Cooper. I would expect, um, again, I would expect Amari Cooper to do better against the Ravens. It's going to be a big time game here against a really big, good opponent. So I think Amari Cooper will step up a little bit, but overall they have plenty of offensive weapons and their defense was dominant as well. I think they're in a really good spot at number three. Number two is going to be the Detroit Lions. So they were number four last week. Moved them up to number two, mostly because we got official confirmation that David Montgomery is back. That's what I was really looking for. Like they had plenty of injuries. We got some confirmation of some guys coming back this week, especially again David Montgomery is going to make this team, quite a bit better. And on the pass game and the rush game as well. But obviously the Lions did not play a game this week, so I really don't have much to talk about them except David Montgomery being back. And then number one is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. Again, they didn't play a game this week, so I don't have much to say, but it does look like McCole Hardman and Jalen Watson are going to be playing this week, which certainly helps solidify this team as the number one spot, in my opinion. But yeah, sorry. Moving on here to our game picks. There's only four games, obviously. I was 5-1 last week, but the only game I got wrong being the Texans and Chargers. And it doesn't really matter for the second round matchups because I think the Chiefs would beat the Texans or the Chargers anyways. And then all these other picks: Lions over the Commanders, Ravens over the Bills, and Eagles over the Rams were my original predictions for the playoffs, and I'm not going to change them here. This week I see no reason to change them. I do feel less confident in the Eagles over the Rams pick because I do think the Rams looked really impressive in wild card week, and the Eagles looked not as impressive. But I still think the Eagles will get this job done. Again, all these should be really entertaining games. Certainly better than the wild card games, which besides the Commanders and Bucks, none of the other five games are really all that competitive. But I think all these four games this week should be fairly competitive throughout the entirety of the game. Chiefs Texans probably has the highest chance of a blowout. Lions Commanders obviously as well, but I think the Commanders will do enough. I think the Commanders have a better shot of keeping up with the Lions, at least for a little bit, than the Texans do of keeping up with the Chiefs. But yeah, that's going to be it for the video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to check back next week for an updated Power Rankings list, and make sure to check out my NBA videos as well.